Hi, I am Right Reverend Jennifer Valls, and today being the 12th of April 2020, it is the 5-year anniversary of my husband's passing, and indeed it was a Sunday when we turned off the machines. But it is to remind everybody that life is eternal, and being this day, Easter Sunday, it reminds me of eternal life and resurrection. And I would just like to share with you the story that will help you have an understanding of eternal life and resurrection. It was many years ago, many years ago, before John's passing, that I had an Indian stand before me in spirit and tell me that my husband would pass at the death of Christ. And obviously that disturbed me. But it was years to come. But Spirit always told me that I would not remember that he would pass on a Good Friday, being a death of Christ. But indeed it did take place. And one Good Friday, we had a beautiful day at home with family and friends. And it was a day that we celebrated and we had many laughs, and the home was full of love. And that evening, my husband went to bed. And then during the night, and actually it was 1, 2, 3 on the clock, that I heard my husband's last breath. It woke me, and I was doing healing over him, thinking he was having a bad dream. And then his breathing stopped. And it was at that point that I realised that this was indeed his last breath. And I ran to the room of my daughter, and Jess and her partner Josh came into the room, and we began the CPR, rang the ambulance and waited for the ambulance to arrive. And during this time, I was in prayer, obviously. And after the ambulance arrived, John hadn't breathed for 40 minutes, which is a very long time. And I was at his feet the majority of the time, sending healing energy, praying to Jesus. And at one point I saw the ambulance officers packing up. And I thought, this is the last moment. This is it. They've given up on him. And I screamed, Jesus, now! And at that point, I remember seeing light running up his legs from where I was sitting. And the last paramedic that was sitting beside John said, wait, I have a pulse. And I knew that was Jesus that had brought the life back into his body. And John then began to live again. But then again, as we continued to prepare to take him to the hospital, and we had to move down the stairs, he passed away again at the bottom of the stairs. And again, he came back, travelling in an ambulance to the hospital, continuing prayer. We arrived at the hospital, and he went into the ICU unit. And then we spent days praying, as he was obviously connected to a lot of machinery. And we spent days praying and healing. And then one day while I was healing him, John stepped out of his body and said, I don't want to get back into that body. And I looked at him, and he said it again, I do not want to get back into that body. And you have to have an understanding that I am healing his physical body, but now John is also standing before me in the spirit. So I'm seeing 2 Johns right now. And he's letting me know that he doesn't want to get back into that physical body. And I said to him that I will honour his journey, his soul journey, his choice. But he must go and communicate with my son, Nathan. For Nathan and I had spent endless time constantly by John's side for the days within the hospital doing healing and prayer. And during these wonderful times of healing, where Nathan would be with John, and at one particular day, Nathan was holding John's head, doing healing, and I was at John's heart. And Jesus said to me, "Open your eyes." And I opened my eyes to look at Nathan. And I saw Jesus walk into Nathan. And Nathan said, with his eyes closed, "Mum, Jesus is with me." And I said, I know. And so then I was so surprised when John stood outside his body to tell me he did not want to get back in, because I truly believed that he would be healed. And as I said to him, "I will look after you for all the days of my life," and he still chose to leave. So obviously I blessed his wish, remembering that we are eternal light. He went to Nathan, and Nathan rang me and said, "Mum, Dad visited me and said he does not want to come back." And so then, on the 12th of the 4th, 2015, we turned off the machines. And so today marks the 5-year anniversary. But this message is to remind you of eternal life. For after John passed, he said to me, "I will come back to you within 12 months as a baby boy." And indeed he did. 9 months later, we were blessed with Elijah, my daughter's son, and Jess and Josh being the most beautiful parents. And here now, John, as Elijah, lives on. And so this is truly a story of resurrection. John not only let me know of his coming back as physical form, but he also told other family members that he would again live in the body of a baby boy and Jessica named Elijah. So many stories continue. And so this is to help you understand eternal life and resurrection. So it is the power of love, the power of belief, the power of knowing and trusting. And John continues to provide me with assurance that he is eternal. So I can still communicate with John's spirit as John. Because you have to understand it is a soul journey. So John's soul journey, in one aspect he was John, but in another aspect now he is Elijah. So it helps you have an understanding of reincarnation. And so indeed, yes, I understand that people are finding this a little too hard to take or comprehend. But let it be that you allow yourself to be open and to embrace this message. John's light and love continues to grace us, just as Jesus' light continues to grace us. It is to remember that we are indeed spirit, living a physical existence. John chose to leave the world as John, but to enter a new life within 9 months as Elijah, knowing that he is still within the family who truly love and cherish the soul and the life that he leads. And it was also as I walked Tuna on a daily basis. One day, John was standing on the corner and he was pointing up the street from where I live, saying, "I want to live there." And this was before he was born as Elijah. He said, I want to live there. And so now he lives 4 doors down from me, exactly where he wished to live. We have that understanding that we communicate with Spirit, for we are all Spirit, united, connected with love. And it is as we lift and raise our vibration that we can truly bathe in the essence of light, of love. And this indeed is why our message to you. And I'm talking from my heart and the heart of my higher team. And indeed my higher team is Jesus, Melchizedek, Mary and Sarah. We are a team united, and we again walk the earth. But we are with you to share this light, to open your heart to understand love and purity, to allow you to understand the passion within ourselves. And it's not to say that the ache of separation subsides, because it still is present. But we heal and we grow. And it is that this day we celebrate Easter, the day of resurrection. We celebrate the most famous man that walked the earth, Jesus. And he rose this day to remind us that we move into higher vibration, just as John did, and who chose to come back to be present with us again. We must remember that every soul has a purpose, and every soul teaches, nurtures, and nourishes another soul. And so it is with so much love I send to all of you who listen and embrace this message, that John's light continues to live on within all of us who knew him, but continues to live on in Elijah. So life is eternal, and what a blessing for having an understanding of this truth. So God bless all of you, and peace be with you.